Hi, Keith.
Hello.
Hi, welcome back. It's been a little while
Thank
since we
you.
last spoke.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a while. Good to
It's
see you.
precisely, it was October. It's gone
October.
really quickly. Yeah, nearly
Blimey.
6 months. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
everybody who's listening for the first time, hi, and welcome to part 5 of In Conversation with Keith. Keith came to see me, must be just over 3 years ago now,
Yeah.
and he's going to just do a quick recap of why and what that journey's looked like over that period of time. But just to touch on it, all the previous In Conversations you'll find on the YouTube channel under In Conversations with Keith. As I say, this one is part 5. The first one was right at the beginning of the lockdown last year in June, where we looked at the beginning of the journey, and then for each one throughout the year as a progress report, really, of where we've got up to. So we've talked about an awful lot, haven't we, so far,
You
Keith?
certainly have. Yeah. Yeah.
So for your new followers, you want to give us a little outline of how this all began and take us to where we are today?
Yeah. So I'll keep it brief. Obviously, it'll help people who are new to this to understand who I am and what I'm talking about. But back in 2004, 2005, I developed some symptoms, shall we say. Went to the doctor, got all sorts of tests, went to consultants, had all sorts of tests done to rule all the nasty things out, which they did, which was great news, but there was still something wrong and they didn't know what this thing was and how to cure it. So I went through all sorts of medications and things like that, experimentation, if you like, let's try this drug, let's try that drug. And this went on for a number of years. And during that time, symptoms got worse, which became more chronic pain, basically. And I spent 10 plus years with living with that, which came to a head when the consultant said that they wanted to perform surgery and start removing parts of me. And I just felt something was amiss. It just didn't feel right. No one had ever confirmed what was actually wrong with me. It was all sort of guesswork. And as I say, I just went with my gut feel and said, I'm not having that. I'll go and figure it out for myself. So off I went and started my journey then, looking into what could be the cause of this thing. And that's when I discovered the mind-body connection and how your emotions can cause physical pain and symptoms and so on. And I started pulling all that together, but at the same time wasn't doing myself any favors, because it was just self-perpetuating that I had this problem. And I went through all sorts of different things, physio, hypnotherapy and whatnot. And that journey led me to a situation where I thought, I'm stuck. I've got this energy is just stuck. I need some sort of release. So I went looking for someone who did Reiki and found Michelle. But what started as a visit for some Reiki turned into something completely different, which is this journey. Yeah, which is this journey we're talking about now. And although I had a limited understanding of what was going on, it was that point where I really started to discover what was happening. And that was through working with yourself, Michelle, to discover the all of the things that you go through with that toolkit that you've got, which is incredible. And yes, so the last few conversations we've had have just been going through my journey from the point that we met and started getting into that stuff, which we've covered a lot of stuff, but pleased to say that yeah, not 100% yet, but a million miles away from where I was, and with a much better understanding of what's going on and how to sort it out. So yeah, we're in a very happy place now. I think you described me as some hunched over cripple walking into your cottage that first time.
I never forget that. From your first visit, from you arriving from the gate to me being at the front door, it seemed to take forever for you to hobble, bent in two. It was almost like you needed a stick to get from the top of the drive to the front door.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my word, is he going to make it up the stairs? That's what I thought. Because that obviously where my room is. And to look at you now.
Yeah, and it just shows how sort of knife edge things can be, because I had this gut feel that something wasn't right. Had I not had that, I could have gone surgery, life-changing surgery, which from what I've seen through the research I've done, wouldn't have got rid of the symptoms or the pain. Yet I would then have another issue to deal with. I'd have been missing my bladder and had the stoma and all that to deal with for no gain at all. And it's that one simple decision. You know, you can either go one way or the other. I could have stayed in the sick care system being medicated for the rest of my life, or come out of it and try to find what was really going on. And it's just so important to me that I listened to my gut feel at that time. And to be honest, most of my decisions these days are made by my gut feel.
Exactly.
Not by my brain. There's too much nonsense in there, but gut feel is everything to me.
But isn't it funny, because you know that now, but at the time you just had this instinct to follow a new path, but you wouldn't have known at the time that that was your instinct and you got
No, that's right. Yeah,
it followed just,
I didn't know what it was. It was something. Now I've got a better understanding of what that is and how important it is. But yeah, I just knew something was not right.
Yeah, the signs are always there. Is just sometimes we miss them, don't we? So well done. I have to say, I say it every time. And when I think back to that first day when you were hobbling down the drive to seeing you now, it's an amazing journey. And I am extremely proud of you. You took on board in all those emotional guidance sessions outside of the Reiki, the EFT, the workshops, everything. You literally took everything in like a sponge. Soaked it all up, what resonated with you. But not just that, Keith, you went on your own journey to look further into it. And, you know, I think we talked about it last time, or it might have been the time before, that you created your website with, you've got quite a library of links and people to follow, video clips and books and all sorts of resources that far outweigh anything I've ever put together in my last 15 years or so. So it's incredible the information that you've gone on to learn, and that's where we want to really come to today. How do things affect you today? Because you look the picture of health. I've got to say, you look great.
Yeah, tons better. I mean, I'm not perfect, you know, but I was in a place where everything was a struggle. It's, you know, this so-called condition I had wasn't life-threatening. It was life-limiting. And I think I've mentioned this to you before. It's a kind of there's a book I read a while back called The Great Pain Deception, and that's what this whole thing is. It's a deception. There's buried emotions which are trapped in your body, which cause physical pain and tension and symptoms. And those are emotions that your subconscious thinks are too painful for you to deal with, so it buries them, and you don't know this is happening. And that whole process, when you don't know what's going on, obviously you just believe the doctors and stuff. But when you start to understand what's happening, you start to take back control, and that's the first big step, where it's not, you know, you've heard of the placebo effect. You know, you take a sugar pill, you get better. Well, the opposite is the nocebo effect. When you've got doctors telling you there's no known cause or no cure and you're just going to get worse, well, you can believe that as well. And that negative thought pattern can be very, very intense and very, very real. The opposite one, exactly. But again, it's just a thought. If you flip that to the positive one, that can be equally, if not more powerful. So once you start to get an understanding of that, you start to see that glimmer of hope and understand that actually there is something you can do. And I guess for my personal sort of take on it was that because I tried absolutely everything else under the sun, it was a case of, well, what have I got to lose? All I can do is turn up with an open mind and listen to people like yourself and give it a go. And like you say, you've got to be like a sponge, just be open. And try it, because what else have you got? You know, you can't try anything else. I'm not taking any more pills. You know, when they say these pills have got side effects, they're not side effects, they're effects. You take that pill, that's what's going to happen. And then you take another pill for the side effects, and before you know it, you're popping 5-6 pills a day. There's no way I was going down that route. But obviously starting the work with yourself and understanding what was going on and how to deal with it. The big shift for me was the mental shift, because once you can take back that control mentally, you can start to do stuff about it. and that then sort of snowballs into a whole host of series of things that you go through. I mean, you mentioned that library that I've built up. I mean, it's every single thing in there helped me along the way. The majority of it I don't need anymore. Without sounding big-headed, I understand it. It doesn't need to be there anymore. I'm past that level, if you like. But every now and then something will pop up and I'll understand it differently the second time around.
Yeah.
But you know, if you look at all that, I'll think, oh, I've got to learn all that to get better. Absolutely not. No,
It was a choice, wasn't it?
Yeah, one thing in there might fix you. It's just that one phrase or something will resonate with you, and you'll think, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
And that's sort of my own personal journey. Obviously, everyone's different, but the more I've gone through that, the more I've understood that my symptoms didn't correlate with anything, nothing I ate or did, physical activity or anything like that. But what they did start to correlate with was how I felt and what I was thinking. And that for me was the eye opener. And obviously you helped me understand that in more detail and understand what was going on and deal with it. But they were the key things. And we've come back to this on our previous conversations, thoughts and feelings. And that's it. That's all there is. The only thing I've seen that makes my symptoms better or worse is my thoughts and feelings. So, you know, it's that's what I've focused on. And I know, yes, I've done a lot of research, but the flip side of that is that the more I've had my condition on my mind, the more I've been thinking about it, the more energy I've been giving it. So it's perpetuated.
I was just thinking about this, and here you are,
Yeah,
out it comes. Like, you know what I'm thinking now.
and it
Go on,
is.
talk to us a
And
bit more
again,
about that, where attention goes, energy flows, and what you learned about that, Keith.
yeah. So I mean, again, this is a massive subject in itself, but I came to you for some Reiki, and straight away we were into a conversation about the law of attraction, because you could see that I was obsessed with my pain, my condition that I had, and I was, you know, I'd stuck that label on myself. I've got this, I am that. And those were the powerful words, I am. So straight away you would tell me about the law of attraction and, you know, what we attract and things like that. And that was the key thing, because once I started to realize, again, you were slowly beating it out to me, but every time I came to you, I'd sit down and you'd say, how are you doing? And I think I was star pupil, because I'd start telling you about all this research had been done about this guy had the same thing as me and this other person, and I looked into this, and you'd be like, stop right there. Because again, I was I was keeping it alive, because every waking moment I was thinking about this condition I had, this label I had, and that was all I was thinking. So because that's all I was thinking about from when I woke up to when I went to bed, that was all I had on my brain. So that was all I was attracting constantly.
Feeling.
And it took a while for the pennies to drop there to realize exactly what was happening. And again, obviously we're all different. Some people will get that within seconds. Other people, you have to drag it out of them. I guess the analytical part of my brain, wanting to know the ins and outs of everything, kept that search going. You know, but I've come to realize now that none of that matters anyway. You know, I may have found what I think are the root causes in my childhood and all that, but I know now it doesn't matter, because it's all down to thoughts and feelings. And again, the situation now is that it's not the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning, and it's not the last thing I think about when I go to bed. I deliberately do meditation before I go to bed, just to make sure that I haven't got those thoughts in my head when I go to sleep, because, and again, that's another sort of tangent, but when you go to sleep, obviously you go from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind, and you're in that dream state for 7-8 hours. Well, the only thing your subconscious has got to think about at that point is what was in there when you went to sleep. So if you go to sleep thinking about all your problems, well, guess what? That you're going to have 8 hours of that in your subconscious while you're asleep, and you're going to wake up the next morning
With exactly the same
on the
thought.
back foot. So
Yeah.
either clear your mind or try and get something a bit better in there before you go to sleep. But anyway, I then started to sort of turn the corner and see that I could go for long periods of time with no pain or symptoms, and then this thought would come into my head, oh, I haven't had a pain for a while, and then there you go.
Bingo.
I'd start getting a pain.
Your wish is
So
my command, and so it is.
exactly. So over time, you start to notice this, and that sort of took us to the being present. So I know that there's stuff in my subconscious which causes this process of pushing the emotions down into the body, which causes the physical pain and tension and so on. And that subconscious program is only going to run when I'm not present. You know, you can be driving your car from A to B, and all of a sudden you're at the traffic lights halfway on the journey and think, oh God, I didn't realize we were here so quick. You know, we've all done that. And that's because the autopilot takes over. Because you've done that so many times, you've got a subconscious program that will do that for you.
Familiarity.
So that's a simple example of when you're not present.
Yeah.
Another one is when someone says, oh, you sound just like your mum or just like your dad. And, you know, we all pick up those things from our parents when we're growing up. And because that's part of our subconscious programming, we can say things or act a certain way, mannerisms or whatever, where someone will say, oh, you're just like your dad. And you say, no, I'm not. And the reason you don't see it is because it's subconscious. And so because it's not conscious, you don't notice it yourself.
Mm.
And again, that's another tangent you could go.
It is, I know. We could do another 6 series on these.
I know, but it all sort of tied together to those two key things, those thoughts and feelings. I took a diversion on my journey from the medical world based on a feeling. I just knew something wasn't right, and I couldn't ignore that. And most decisions I make now are based on my feeling. What do I feel about this?
Yeah,
Is this the
tapping
right
into
decision or that
yourself.
one? Not thinking. There's too much nonsense up there. 70,000 thoughts a day. On average, a human has. I mean, how many of them are useful? Not many.
Yeah. It's very true that actually. Talk about that for a moment. You can have on average 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, but if you're having stress and anxiety, that could quite easily jack up to much more. 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. And yes, you say how many of those thoughts are nonsense. So I like to talk about it as positive thoughts or poverty thoughts. What's the balance between the percentage of the thoughts that are going to be good for your well-being and the thoughts that are going to drag you down emotionally for your well-being. There's a lot to be said for that. If we could hear all of those thoughts that each of us are having all day long, it'd be chaotic. We'd be like this, but the body can hear it. So the body is doing this. So you're absolutely right to touch on the amount of thoughts and the quality of the thoughts. Sorry, I interrupt. Go ahead.
No, absolutely, you're right. Because it's interesting because, like you say, that there's a lot of thoughts going on in your head, and there's a lot of things going on around us. And again, you can't process all of that. So your brain has to be selective. And in terms of law of attraction, your subconscious has got two main rules, really. One is to keep you safe.
Yeah, the big one.
And one is to prove that you're right.
Yeah.
So when you're living your life and you've got these 70,000 thoughts bouncing around your head, and you've got all of this input from your external world, your reality coming at you, there's too much to process. So your subconscious mind will filter out anything, things that are a potential danger to you, it's going to pick up on that, and things that prove you right, it's going to pick up on that. Everything else gets dropped. So that's one explanation of how law of attraction works. Because if you're thinking all the time that you're not good enough, or you're not going to get the interview, or you're not going to get the contract for your business, or that sort of stuff, well, when you're processing all this stuff, guess what? All the stuff that you're thinking about is all that it's looking for. It's looking for the things that are going to make you right, because that's its job, to prove that you're right, to protect you.
Let's look at that a bit further, if we may, because subconscious mind is on your body. The universe, you are the universe, whatever way you want to look at it, is very obedient. So it doesn't perceive right from wrong, good from bad, positive from negative. Just does as it's told. So every word and every thought out of you is an instruction to yourself, and that's it. It's to the letter. So the subconscious will believe you. and just give you what you just asked for. Now, a lot of people talk about that as if it's the universe to throw it out there for the law of attraction. For me, we're all connected, so it's to yourself. And you are the universe, which is really powerful in itself. But yeah, the power is within you, and that's where that comes from. So carry on.
So like you said, when we first started talking, I was talking about in the first interview, I think it was, about living in fear, sort of thing.
Yeah, it was.
Because that was my reality. It's only looking back now I can see that in all sorts of different scenarios. It all makes sense, sort of thing. But you don't know it at the time because you're just being you. You're just being you based on those beliefs and thoughts that you've got, that you've grown up and developed over the years since you were born. And if you're to live in a sense of fear, just as a normal status quo, that's how I am. You're always going to be constantly thinking things are going to go wrong. You know, mine was like fear and not being worthy.
Yeah,
so
there's a big one, isn't it? Not being worthy and not deserving.
So,
that's a huge paradigm in itself.
Yeah, that's right. So your thoughts are sort of biased that way, that, oh, I don't deserve this, or whatever I do is going to go wrong. And because you're thinking that, well, guess what? It's going to go wrong, because that's what you believe. So again, it becomes your way of life. And, you know, maybe 10, 20 years, you're in your 20s, your 30s, it might not have caused any issues and you're just getting on with it. But obviously I got to a point where it was just too much, and it started to get buried. And whether it was one big event or just a culmination of living that way for so long, that it started to be suppressed. And obviously that energy has to go, because it is energy, it's stuff, and it can't be destroyed. It's got to go somewhere.
And the energy never dies, it just changes. Changes its form. I want to pick up on something you talking about there, Keith, about, you know, coming into your 20s and 30s, and then it got too much, and it was all this suppression, and it needed to come out. You know, that timing was no coincidence, that you knew you needed to get some support. You've reached out, and we were able to work on that release of that energy and that fear. Now, the body will carry all of those memories and experiences from this life and past lives in the energy field, in layers of the energy field, to physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and ethereal layers. And when we are in fear, those layers will contract to your shoulders, will come in to protect your heart. I think we may have talked about this before in the other conversations. But what that does is affect your breathing. So it's overwhelming, and it's because of everything you're carrying that you haven't let go of is in those energy fields, is now even closer to you. It feels heavy, and it's too much to bear. But those emotions that you talk about from the thoughts, those feelings, are your body talking to you, saying that this is getting too much now, we need to take some action. It's a prod constantly. Oi, no, I'm not in a good place here. I want you to listen. And if you don't listen, and if you don't hear, and you continue to battle against yourself, then the body will suddenly take over you and take control.
Absolutely.
And that's when we have the breakdown. But at the same time, that momentum can come on a positive note. It's not all negative. It works exactly the same. Those layers of the energy field can be expanded when you're in a happy place, in a higher vibration, in an emotional state of love rather than fear. Then you are open and ready to receive. It's the open of embrace, isn't it? So but what you can, when you learn to tap into your feelings and understand those emotions, what am I thinking about? Worse still, what am I telling myself? Or if you know you're going to go into a situation that's a little bit out your comfort zone, you can yourself expand your energy field to become a bubble of light and love and protection, to take you in somewhere where you feel like negativity is going to bounce off you. So it's a real tool. It's a real skill to use in all areas of your life, and it's a life skill, because once you're aware of it, you can't be unaware of it. And it's amazing what difference it makes. You know, like you say, this isn't a magic wand. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time. We're all individuals. We're all different. We've all been through different things. So no one solution is going to fix all people or all problems.
That's it. There's
my
there's a
motto.
lot of things. Yeah, you've got a great toolkit of all these different things, and people might be a bit daunted by that, or they might listen to me and think, yeah, well, that's just you. Well, the key thing is what we said before, is to just be open.
Yeah.
What have
Be
you got
ready.
to lose?
Yeah.
And you know that you mentioned there about energy and stuff like that. I mean, I've over the last maybe 12 months, I've noticed more and more I can be with people, although we're not able to do that so much as we'd like, but I can pick up on things like that. And again, it's not through words, it's just through feelings.
Yeah.
And it's incredible that, you know, I think that for my own personal journey, the sort of feeling, and again, this is what I go with, the feeling I get is that what my subconscious is trying to tell me is that I just need to be myself. For whatever reason, I've been afraid to be me.
Yeah.
So I've been living, you know, not like a schizophrenic type of way, but I've not been my true self.
True to you.
For fear, you know, and that's where the fear comes in, and the unworthiness. Well, you know,
Yeah,
so
because you're off balance, because you
yeah,
feel disconnected. You know, and I want to come on to
yeah,
that. We were talking not so long ago about looking back now. It feels like when you reflect on that experience, it wasn't
yeah,
you, somebody else. And
yeah,
I can
yeah.
completely relate to that when in
Yeah,
my, obviously been through my own journey some time ago. When I look back now, you know, I'm 51 now. When I look back at what I went through in my late 20s and what have you, it's like it was somebody else. It because I've
this is,
shed that
I can
skin,
feel,
released and
that
let it
now. It's,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And
It's
you're the
quite,
same. Talk about that.
it's quite powerful. Yeah, I look back to the beginning of this, and yeah, it's like it's not like you're recalling memories back then. It's like you're looking at someone else's life.
Yeah.
It
Or a
really is
film you
quite
watched.
bizarre. Yeah, it's that's not me. And it is, it's quite bizarre, but I really do truly feel that you basically get to that point
Oh,
where, what's going on
there you go.
there? You basically get to that point where your subconscious has had enough. You just can't do it anymore. You're kidding yourself. You know, that's sometimes why people get depressed, because they just can't play that charade anymore. And again, it's not, I think we've talked about this as well, it's not that there's something missing, it's just that you've accumulated so much stuff that
Time
you're
to let
hiding
go.
behind. And again, it's that protection, because you're in fear, and you've
Yeah.
just got to strip it all away, because what's underneath is the real you.
Yeah.
You're not lacking in anything, you've just accumulated all this stuff you need to get rid of. And
Brilliant.
it's only through that process that I started to feel better.
And feel
um,
yourself again and be connected
yeah.
again. Yeah.
And then
Let's
the
go into
the,
that a bit more now and bring it to how that you stay in this higher vibration to stay connected. And
yeah,
you know, because we revisiting the past and the experiences and what it is.
yeah,
What can we do about it? You know, how do you use your new skills in your everyday life to keep you in a better place? I mean, because you're gonna
yeah.
dip. That's life.
Well,
We're meant to. We've got to
yeah,
show you're
yeah.
human and you're in full working order. We talked about that last time in the emotional guidance scale. You know, you jump
Yeah,
across it and up and down it because you're meant to. It'd be a problem if you were just flatline, you know. So
yeah.
what do you do? What's in your toolbox now that we've
So
taught you how to think and heal
what
yourself
do I
happy?
do? Yeah. So
Feel high.
I think the main thing is, the first thing you've got to do is obviously experience that feeling of being everything you want it to be, of being up there on the emotional scale, because once you've felt that feeling, you know what it is that you're striving for. So when you are down, you
The
know what it
difference.
feels, you know the difference, and you'd much rather be in that place where you feel those feelings. And again, obviously we all feel those feelings differently.
Mm,
We can all say, oh yeah, I experience joy, but that joy we all experience is slightly different. You know,
yeah.
it's chemicals in your body and stuff, but we all experience it in our own reality. So for me, I had some quite profound meditation sessions where I just I remember coming to you, and I used to explain to you these meditations that I had, and it came to a point where I couldn't describe them in words, and you were like, oh, you're on another level now. But when you
Literally.
understand, yeah, when you understand that you can actually feel that good just from thinking and feeling, it's got
Being
nothing to do
present.
with, Yeah, nothing to do with what's going on in the outside world, who you're with, where you are, what you're doing. None of that has any influence on all this. I mean, unfortunately it does, but to get those true feelings, you do that yourself. It comes from within. It's nothing outside. It's all from within. So once you've experienced that, then who wouldn't want to feel like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you do, and we all do it, we're all human, you know, something happens at work, you miss a deadline, or something breaks and you're under pressure, or something happens at home, you are going to get stressed out and stuff, and something might happen that makes you feel sad and that. And the first thing to do is recognize that and think, do I want to be here? And
Knowledge.
obviously we'll all go there from time to time. It's perfectly normal. I'm not saying that you don't have to go there, but you
But
just
it's
have to
being
understand.
aware that where you are,
Yeah,
isn't it? At any one time, you can say, thank you, body, for sharing that with me. And make the decision. Do I need to sit with this to process it?
yeah,
Do I need to
exactly.
rest? Is it
Yeah,
telling me to rest, completely do nothing,
that's it. What's
present?
it telling me?
Or do
Yeah,
I need to take action? Do I need
yeah,
to motivate myself to take some, take some action to then get motivation to
yeah,
jump up the scale a little bit? Yeah.
yeah,
So this is key for where a lot of us are now coming out of this. The last
mm,
12 months has been pretty heavy energy and a lot of fear-based
yeah,
emotions for a lot of people dealing with it in their own individual ways. But we're at the
mm,
start of a new season. You know, the sun's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
been snowing again, mind.
I know.
But we
I can
just
see
had
it
the
out the
Easter
window now.
break.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had some sunshine. People are starting to come out. Announcements are coming slowly to getting back to whatever the
yeah,
new normal is going to look like. I think it's important to say that it's not just better days are coming, better days are here, and to
mm,
start focusing on how
yeah,
important your well-being is. This is
mm,
not just something that we take care of when we're poorly. This last 12 months
yeah,
really has
yeah,
been a time of reflection that well-being is really key to your everyday life, regardless of your situation, your
yeah,
circumstances, or who you are, what you've got going on.
yeah.
You can. It's a choice, isn't it, Keith? You
It's
find it
all
a choice. You always say it's a choice. Do you want to
it's
talk about?
always a choice. Yeah, I mean, obviously there is a lot of stuff going on at the moment, and added to the news that's out there, there's a lot of stuff on social media. There's a lot of information out there, whether it's misinformation or true information. Then there's people who spin that information, whether it's true or false.
Manipulative?
And then there's the people who jump on the people for speaking out about it. I mean, it's a whole
Yeah,
minefield. And the thing I've found, certainly the last few months, I just don't look at it.
yeah, me too.
I just don't look at it, and that whole thing goes away. You're not missing out on anything.
No.
You're just getting your life back, and it's so much better. I'm always going to know what's going on the news, and when the pubs are going to open, when I can get back in the gym, when I can go and visit my parents because they're over the border and stuff like that. You're not ignoring what's going on, but just switch
Don't
off the
have to be
social
obsessed by
media.
it,
Yeah.
or too influenced by it. That's the
We
thing.
we used to watch we used to watch the news at 10 every night, and
It's the
don't
worst
bother
thing you
anymore.
can do, isn't it? Go to
Worst thing
bed
you
with
can
the
do.
worst news.
Again. And living in Wales, you put the national
Yeah.
news on and get to find out what's happening in England only. Um, so it's all
Yeah, we
irrelevant
do.
anyway. So as long as you're keeping yourself and your family safe and getting on with what you can, then just ignore the rest of it. Because again, it's just pushing the mood down and filling your head with more nonsense to think about. Just don't go there. I just switched it all off.
You're going
It's
to
so
do
much
what's
easier.
right for you as an individual, haven't you?
Yeah,
I think all too often we tend to follow what the majority are, what we think the
yeah,
majority are doing, what we believe is the right thing to do or perceived to be the right thing to do. Whereas really, as individuals, that's your power. It's
yeah,
whatever's right for you in
yeah.
your own time, you know.
Exactly. And
I
it's again,
I'm
it's
big on self-care. So for
yeah,
me, my well-being throughout lockdown has been all around self-love.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, absolutely. I've not paid much attention to the news, as you say, apart from needing the update.
yeah,
But it's been taking advantage of the time to be right. Okay, let's look at the diet, and that's not the food diet. That's what
mm,
you're reading, what you're watching, who you're
yeah,
with, if anybody, what you're learning about. The full circle
yeah,
is your diet, because
yeah. Well,
no two
that's
people are the same, and that's your power. and
yeah,
the power is
yeah.
within. All the
Well,
answers are
that's it.
within. You ask somebody their advice, they'll tell you what they would do if it was them, because that's all they know. So go
Yeah,
within and ask yourself.
yeah,
You
yeah.
close your
I mean,
eyes, ask that question, and if your stomach
yeah,
churns, it's a no, isn't it?
yeah.
If it
Well,
flutters,
that's
then
it.
it's a yes.
Yeah, because
So there. Oh, you've gone on mute. That's it. Go on.
yeah, someone tried to phone me. So
Oh,
yeah, I kind of shut down a lot of stuff when I went through this process. You know, the hobbies and pastimes I had, I just stopped doing them. And again, I can see why now. It was just the whole downward spiral. You just lose interest in stuff, and as well as the physical symptoms, you get the mental symptoms like depression and anxiety and stuff. So there's a whole package that comes along with it. You know,
it's
and again,
momentum, isn't it? If
yeah,
you give
that's
something that energy to gain momentum,
yeah,
you'll end up on that spiral, be it one
that's right,
way
that's
or the
right.
other. So
And
it's
I
breaking the momentum.
and I kind of the other revelation I had recently was that I was obviously getting back into my happy place where I should be, thinking what, you know, like in the film The Secret, what's my bliss, what is it I need to be doing. And as well as some of the hobbies and pastimes I used to have, I used to sit there. I remember saying to my boss a while back, I wish I knew about the mind, but yeah, I wish I knew about my job in as much detail as I knew about the mind body stuff. um,
Amazing.
which made me realize over time that, you know, I was always thinking, well, what is it that I'm really interested in? And the godsend for me was that it's this stuff.
Yeah.
um,
It is a
I've learned so much about the mind body and how all that works. I find it absolutely fascinating, and luckily I turned my obsession with trying to find out what was causing it all and constantly focusing on the pain and the symptoms to now focusing on this area: law of attraction, the mind body, how everything works, the universe, life, everything.
energy. Yeah.
And just focusing on that and reading about that. I read a lot of books, a lot of YouTube stuff, obviously chatting to yourself. Still have sessions with you as well, keep
Yeah.
me on track, because, you know, it's
Try.
difficult to talk to a family member or a friend about this stuff if they're not on the right wavelength. You know, why does that happen to you just because of that? I wouldn't do that. It's like, well, yeah, because it's nothing to do with them. You're a different person in a different reality. And it's for me, this is amazing stuff. And, you know, that's why I started the blog and putting all that together. If that helped one person, brilliant, I've achieved my goal. And that culminated in starting to write a book, which we spoke about a while back, and
Amazing. Yeah. I can't
that
wait to
is
see this
in
come to life.
progress. And
Yeah.
again, you know, am I writing a book to make money? No. Am I writing a book to be famous? No. I'm just writing it because it feels like the right thing to do.
And to
And
share your
that's it.
experiences, you can help
Yeah, yeah.
others. Because that's why we do this. Because like I always say, well, I can post all day long, or I can help you with this, that,
Mm,
and the other, and it helped me, blah
yeah.
blah blah. But yeah, it's so much better, if you like,
Mm,
more tangible to come
yeah.
from somebody else who's actually experienced it and is living proof of.
Yeah.
I'm ever grateful for you for coming on and
Yeah.
talking about this, Keith. It's great. And it
No,
has
again, I
helped a
love
lot
it.
of
It's
people. A
yeah.
lot of people have watched big conversations, and it has helped them to reach out. And going forward, you're talking about how things have progressed for you. Things have progressed for me as well, because I talked to so many people. Even throughout lockdown, it was all online, but it was all the emotional guidance, and it was teaching tools to think and hear
Mm,
yourself happy, exactly as we've done in our sessions from all
yeah.
this time. But what that's evolved for me is I now offering 12-step workshops online, and they're going to
Yeah.
come out soon, where we do from the beginning why you matter, and then the
Yeah.
emotional scale, and limiting beliefs, and positive affirmations, and self-love, and everything. Forgive,
Yeah.
release, let go. I've put it all. That's what I've been busy doing, putting it all together. And I've took quite a lot of it for test runs with different companies that I've been working for, with their
Mm.
carers and so on. That's another story. But we do need to share this information, Keith. It's really important that,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
because we're not
Absolutely.
it's not part of our education, unfortunately. It's
Yeah.
lost knowledge. and that we've forgotten, but that we were born with. And it's our divine right to be able to know how our bodies work and how they can work for us. And the power is within. We keep saying this power is within. It's a choice.
That's it. And again, it's not new. This has been around for thousands of years.
Exactly. Yeah. It's our divine right to be aware of how we are all got this ability within to tap into how we're feeling, to understand the mind-body connection, to look further into it and use it in our everyday lives as individuals. It's another thing, you know, my business is all about you, because you are you, and your individual needs are quite different to the next person, but that's your power. You are unique. Absolutely. Keith, I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking we've probably gone over again, because we're good at that. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up a little bit now, because we've off on what our paths are. But I have to say, I say it every time, I'm really proud of how far you've come. You've taken everything on board. It's all down to you wanting to know and to learn, down to being open and ready to receive. So full credit to you. But we've got great friendship as well, and you know, I think we'll continue doing this, because there's always things for us to talk about, and I'm dying to know how you progress with your book as well. So as we come out of this difficult time, we're in a better place, better space. We know how to help ourselves with our own well-being, and that well-being is important to all of us all of the time. So if anybody's struggling, do reach out, you know, keep posted on the page links and hints and tips, and that'll start to ramp up a little bit now that we're coming out the other side. But thank you, Keith. I've got to say,
no, thank you. It's been great.
We'll see you next time.
Okay.